It's bright out here. Well, I was gonna work on the Datsun today. Work on that front bumper a little bit, but then this happened. Yeah, it snowed a lot. We haven't gotten a lot of snow this year. Winter was almost over, and then second winter came. So that's not gonna happen today. So I figured I would take advantage of this opportunity and talk to you guys about what's going on with the Pontiac. I'm working on a 2009 G8 GXP. Bought the car almost 2 years ago. I wanted to get it into the shop and get it tuned. Of course, as soon as I decided to do that, it sprung a pretty good oil leak. It was spewing oil all over the place. Cleaned it up, and I couldn't really find where the oil leak was coming from. I took it into a shop, had them take a look at it, and they put a black light dye in the oil so that once it was cleaned up, I could run it and see where the oil leak was coming from, and maybe we could trace it. However, it was leaking so much oil that you couldn't really tell where it was coming from. So I was concerned that it was something major, and my fear was a rear main seal. That was kind of my worst case scenario. And what actually ended up happening was worse than a worst case scenario. So anyway, since there's a lot of snow, I can't work on the Datsun, and I'm going to share this little story with you guys. I figured I would fire up the Bronco and take it for a ride. Right, so the Pontiac was leaking oil all over the place. Just smoke coming out from underneath the hood. There was smoke coming out from inside the car. Smoke everywhere. I figured worst case scenario, it's a rear main seal, which would be expensive, but you know, whatever. Well, as it turns out, the problem was far worse. I took it into a reputable shop, and they gave me a call shortly after dropping it off, which is it's never good news when you get a call that fast. Anyway, so they had me come down there and take a look at what the problem was. I have the video. I'm going to show you guys that video right now while I do a little bit of mud bogging. You guys can check it out, see how bad it is. It's pretty bad. Anyway, check out the video. I will be right back.
Crankshaft up. So let me get a rag and wipe that down.
Man, that's crazy.
I've seen it on boosted cars pretty commonly when people put their own blower kits on and they'll bring them on. You can see the coloring where it's all purple.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Aftermarket deal.
These guys right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So somebody, I think, tried to repair it by putting those pins on.
So they put the pins on right here?
Yes.
And right here?
Correct.
But okay, so then this right here has been machined out after...
This has been spinning on top of this surface and tearing it up.
But did somebody machine into this to get these pins to...
Yeah, they drill from the front, but I think the dam was already done and they tried to repair it with these pins.
Oh, wow. So all of this has been shaped down from all the way up
Correct.
back here? That's not good.
So I have another crank here I want to measure, and I'll get exact how much is taken off from that. And then,
That's insane.
I'm assuming they already replaced the balancer when it did it, because if you look at this one, you can see where the silicone is.
Yeah.
Where they tried to get it to sit straight, it looks like. So this balancer obviously looks like it's a little newer, probably than the car itself.
Okay.
Because usually the paint will come off these real quick.
Okay.
How long have you owned the car?
About a year and a half.
Okay.
Year and a half, maybe a year and 10 months or so.
And Let me show you the seal. I've never seen a seal. There's two little sections left right here before it came out.
Uh-huh.
Let's see, I don't think we have it. Before I got
So this is the rear main seal right here?
the front.
Okay. Oh, the front main seal.
And that's supposed to be about 3 times that thickness.
Oh, so it's been completely shaped
That's
down?
supposed to seal to this surface right here. So this will sit like that.
Oh, so it's just spewing everything out then?
Yeah.
Okay.
My concern is a new balancer is not going to sit square on that because this isn't square.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right, because this has been all shaped down.
Correct.
So
Technically it's never going to sit on there perfectly square, so I'm guessing it's shaking a little, which one it's going to... This dampens engine vibration. And if that thing's moving around, it's definitely not going to help.
let's do it! So as it turns out, the crankshaft is shot. That's not good. So in repairs, I'm looking at a little bit over $2,000 to fix. I would fix it myself, but this is something that's definitely outside of my skill set. So now I've got a car that I paid about $35,000 for, once you take into consideration the shipping, the taxes, the registration, out of state, how much I financed for the car, that I can't drive. I have a project car that cost me $35,000, which usually when you're starting on a project car, you're gonna spend a lot of money, but putting down a lot of money up front and it doesn't really run, it's not a good place to start. It makes it a very challenging project car, being that I'm still making the payments on it. So it's a bit of a bad situation. If I'd gone to test drive the car and not had a mechanic take a look at it, I would have bought the car no problem. It ran great, no problems. I've had it for almost 2 years, and it's been a great car. However, if I'd known that it had that problem and that it had been fixed, but not really fixed very well, I would not have bought the car. And that's something that a mechanic might have been able to find. Obviously, when you're buying a used car, there's no guarantees. You don't know how it's been driven before. You don't know what it's been through. This car, in this particular case, had a lot of aftermarket mods. It only had just a little bit over 50,000 miles, and my guess is that it had been driven pretty hard. A mechanic might have found the problems, might not. But if I had taken it to a mechanic and it would have been found, I would not have bought the car, and that would have saved me $35,000. I could have $35,000 right now. Well, no. That would have saved me $35,000. I wouldn't have $35,000 because I didn't have $35,000, but I wouldn't have invested $35,000. That's terrible. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to buy a car, don't buy it sight unseen. And if you're able to, take it to a mechanic who can take a look at it and make sure that everything's running fine on it. Basically, I have 3 options. Option number 1 is to just fix the car. just fix what's wrong with it. It would need a new crank. It doesn't look like there's any damage done to the cylinder walls or the pistons or anything like that. New front and rear main seals, a couple of other little things here and there. Option number 2 is to take care of the internals now. Since we have the engine out and torn apart, we can go with forged internals and prep the car for boost. Lost my train of thought. My goal is to put down about 600 to 700 to the wheels right now. Option number 3 is probably the option that makes the most sense. Since we're going to redo the internals and go with forged internals, and since we're going to go with all new everything, we might as well stroke it. There's all kinds of kits out there. We can go with a 418 stroker kit. Altogether, that might get us to about 600 horsepower. So the good news is that we can get to the numbers that I'm trying to get to now by stroking it, and I don't have to worry about boost. And the even better news is that we can go with forged internals now and set it up for boost in the future. So we might be able to get up there somewhere around 900 to 1,000 if we wanted to, depending on the boost and the setup that we go with. So I can leave this on a cliffhanger, but I'll just give you guys a spoiler alert right now. We're gonna stroke it and prep it for boost. Well, so that's it. Hope you guys liked the video. If you did, make sure that you hit the thumbs up button. If you guys are interested in following the build, following the process of getting the engine stroked out, checking out what kind of numbers it's going to put down, obviously once it's done, we're going to get it on the dyno and see what kind of horsepower and torque it's putting down. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. You can also follow me on Instagram at autovice.usa. I've got 2 builds going on right now. One is the Datsun pickup. It's an old 1971 521. And then of course we got the Pontiac. And if we can't work on either of those 2, or there's nothing going on with them, then we find another car to get in and have some fun with, like this Bronco. Alright. We'll see y'all later.